So Dwayne Wade just recently accepted his player option with the Chicago Bulls, which means he's not going to be here because, well, he's not a free agent anymore. So as a result, I get to pick some other shooting guard to be in the top 5 shooting guards for this upcoming free agency. There is not a distinct order with these, it's just whenever the hell I think of them. But the first one's going to be JJ Redick. Redick's up there in age at this point. He's, what, 32? I think he was this season for the Clippers. Of course, his style of play, you would hope, can carry over even if he's a little bit older. I mean, Kyle Korver was, what, 35 or something this year, and he was still his effective self when it comes to his outside shooting and getting open. Redick's pretty similar in that regard. He also keeps himself in pretty good shape, so I don't think we have to worry about him, you know, declining because he just wasn't ready to be older in the NBA. But also, if we can look at like the rest of his game, he's still not a bad like team defender. Sure, he's never going to be a lockdown guy, and you're not going to trust him on top tier players in the NBA one-on-one. But just playing within a team system defensively and just knowing his assignments and just knowing how to play defense, basically, he's cool. And then you combine that with his outside shooting. As far as how much he's actually going to get paid, maybe $12 or $13 million a season. Maybe even higher than that, I don't know. The NBA cap, while it is going up still, it's not like a couple years ago where everybody has cap space. You know, we've kind of settled into where the salary cap is now. But still, Redick could help out a lot of teams with just being an outside shooter. I mean, anybody who struggled offensively and had bad spacing this previous season and is not the Indiana Pacers because Paul George is going to be gone, JJ Redick would definitely help them out a lot. Next one we can go to is Kentavious Caldwell-Pope of the Detroit Pistons, restricted free agent. I'm interested if anyone is even going to offer him anything. Like, do the Nets really throw $20 million at him and dare the Pistons to re-sign him? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe someone else throws a crazy offer at him. What I'm intrigued by with KCP was his three-point shot, where he shot 35% this season. League average, so not a guy who's gonna like consistently just knock down threes and kill teams for leaving them open. But it's a good sign, and perhaps he can build on that and be a real floor spacer for you. Of course, his calling card is defense and athleticism, and that's a valuable thing in today's NBA. So he's always going to have somewhere to play, especially because he's not that old, and I don't think he's hit his ceiling just yet. But I want to see where his offensive game goes. He doesn't shoot well from the field, and I think part of that is he tries to do things that he simply can't do, whether it be as a ball handler or whatever. If he just kind of embraced being Danny Green and only shooting when he's on open threes and just kind of being a part of an offense and not shooting too much, then I think he could actually be a more valuable player. But who knows, maybe he actually has another level to go to as a creator and all that. But whether he does or doesn't, he can play defense, and he's shown a foundation of being an okay outside shooter. He is definitely going to get a decent amount of money in the NBA, and he's probably going to be on the Pistons next season. And he could be their highest paid player. I'm also too lazy to actually check their salary at the moment. Now we're going to talk about Dion Waiters. Here's the thing about Dion. I'm actually pretty concerned if I was going to sign him. I know he was great for Miami for about a 2-month stretch this season, from basically mid-January to mid-March. It's a nice stretch, don't get me wrong. Like, his sometimes crazy shot attempts started to go in. He was a real one-on-one player. He was actually a decent playmaker in this time as well. Not amazing, but good. I mean, he averaged 6 assists in the month of February. And it seemed like he could be a shooting guard who could play off-ball as well as create for himself, and because he's not like a small guy, he might actually be a defensive player as well. Here's the thing. It was a 2-month stretch. He has not been a good NBA player for the majority of his NBA career, and I don't know if the sample size of however many games he was good for Miami is big enough for me to confidently give him a contract and think that he's going to be really good for the next few seasons for me. Now, he could be. Maybe that's the new Dion Waiters, a guy who's more efficient and can hit some big shots for you and play in the pick and roll, or he might be a guy who takes some shots that make you go, what the hell was that? And he can't efficiently contribute to a team, and he's just kind of more talented than his actual output would suggest. I don't know. But I would be concerned if I was going to offer him a contract. But at the same time, if I could get him for like $10 million, I would definitely do it. I think someone's going to offer him more than that, though, because they're really banking on him being legit as a shooting guard, and he could be. I'm just naturally worrisome about a guy who hasn't been good for a while, and then he had this spurt where he was one of the better shooting guards in the NBA, so who knows. Tim Hardaway Jr., kind of similar to Dion Waiters. This is his first time really showing up as an NBA player. Sure, he had some moments off the bench for the Knicks, and at times would get hot, and he might have a 20-point performance that make you say, oh yeah, he could be something. But inefficiency and not being known as a defensive player and things like that, I think have been valid criticisms of Hardaway. But down the stretch for the Atlanta Hawks, he was pretty good, creating his own shots and being a real three-point threat. And if we look at his last... well, not his last month, but if we look at March of this year for the Hawks, 18 points, 47% from the field, 36% from three. That's pretty good. My question is, number one, can he keep it up? But also, is he ever going to develop an all-around game? Because he only averaged like 3 rebounds and 3 assists for the majority of his season for Atlanta. Given that he's a guy who can handle the ball a bit, will he become an actual playmaker? He's 25 years old, so he might be a little too old to expect that sort of thing. Maybe he steps up as a defender. I just want to know if he's more than just a guy who can put some points up, but might not necessarily help you actually win games. I would say, if I had to bet between Tim Hardaway and Dion Waiters, I'd probably pick Waiters because, I saw him be on top of a good scorer, like he actually was making some plays for other guys on the Heat, and he was playing some okay defense as well. But Tim Hardaway, the potential, it's still there, definitely. Someone could sign him, and if he finds a good coach and a good system, he could step up next season, but maybe Atlanta would be inclined to keep him. I don't know. There were definitely rumors that they would potentially move him at the deadline, and Zach Lowe brought up those rumors, so you know that they're legit. Who knows with him? Now for the last shooting guard, this one's actually kind of tough because if you just go down the list, like Kyle Korver, great shooter, at this point in his career, not much defense. Robertson, very good defender, not much offense. Jonathan Simmons did not have a good regular season for the San Antonio Spurs, but he was very good in the playoffs. It should be said, defensively, he was good in the regular season, but offensively, shot 42% from the field, and he shot below 30% from three. I would be concerned about that, even if he was good in the postseason. Tony Allen, all defense, no offense. Tyreek Evans, he needs the ball in his hand to be effective, but he can't shoot. He's not very efficient, and he's not a natural playmaker, even if he can somehow get up to like 5 or 6 assists a game. I don't even know if Manu's going to be in the NBA next season. Can I say Thabo Sefolosha? Because I still have a lot of intrigue, because he's a strong defensive player still, and I think offensively, he's got more potential than Andre Robertson does. I don't know, pick one of those guys. Maybe if I had to rank them, maybe I go Sefolosha 1, Simmons and Robertson would be tied, and then I'm looking at Korver. I have no freaking clue. Number 5 is somewhere in there. So I think that's going to do it. Another video coming out later on, I'm going to be talking about Dennis Smith and the Dallas Mavericks using NBA as well as NCAA footage. Hopefully my channel doesn't get copyrighted. I don't know what the hell's going to happen.